Today, we're going to be learning about Edward Jenner, or Dr. Edward Jenner. So we had to learn about him in science class, and we're like, okay. But I'm gonna be telling you about him because I'm running out of content. Just kidding, I'm not. Anyways, you're probably wondering, who was Dr. Edward Jenner? Like Kylie Jenner's not related to Kylie Jenner, I don't think. Or, I don't know, whatever. So, the date is 1749 or something like that. I don't really know. But anyways, 1749, and smallpox is relevant. I'll do an SP. And smallpox, if you do not know, is this virus dundidity thing, and it going around and making people go brrr, right? So smallpox virus, and the virus looks like definitely like that.
Oh, no.
But anyways, smallpox infected humans. So say you're a human living in Europe, and you're probably not happy because, you know, dirty Europe. But anyways, people in Europe were like, oh, I'm living my life. I'm fancy European. I do European things and eat escargot from French. I don't know what Europeans do. Anyways, this smallpox virus would be like, oh my God. And it make the people go brrr, and they go dead, they go bye-bye. So the smallpox done did this, and then the people go like, oh, this is the people, this is before or after, and then they're still people, I think, but they're sad. They're sad because the smallpox went brr, and now their face and their entire body is covered with these pus-filled their body is covered with these pus-filled sores, and these sores are filled with smallpox. And so in Europe, in Europe at the time, there were a lot of people being infected with smallpox. And the thing is, well, wait, this is relevant because it's COVID-19, but this is another pandemic back in the day when this was relevant, and 20% of the people died.
You stupid.
You might be like, oh, 20% is not, well, yeah, well, you're probably not thinking that. 20% is a lot of people, and people were dying by the thousands upon hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people. Anyways, and their rest of their life, they'll be scarred forever. These the sores and pus go away eventually, but the scars remain. And then they're like, why I scar? European. But yeah, these people are scarred for the rest of their life, and it's bad, because this is bad. So, what do we do about smallpox? Well, people, they don't really know, so they just go around their normal life and get sick and die. So, the date is 1749, and the video is about Edward Jenner, or Dr. Edward Jenner. Can you guess what happens next? Dr. Edward Jenner has entered the chat. I don't know how to do that. He's here now. Yeah. But he's but a child. He's but an infant. So, what is going to happen? So, top 10 saddest anime backstories. When Dr. Edward Jenner was 8 years old, he went to the doctor, and well, his parent, because smallpox was ramping through Europe at an unprecedented pace. Anyways, he was going to the doctor, and the doctor's like, I'ma like inoculate you or something like that. And what inoculating was this like boomer method of, oh, I dropped my cat. Boomer method of vaccination. Anyways, so this inoculation. Here is little Dr. Edward Jenner, and he's lying and he's sad because he's gonna go to inoculation, and he's lying on a bed. And then here's the doctor man, or I don't know. The doctors are politically neutral. Anyways, so this doctor is going to Edward Jenner, and what inoculation is they go cut, and you bleed, go blood, and he gets blood, and he purges, and he cut, and he more blood, and he go bye-bye. But after there's a lot of series of treatment, the doctor take a thing, and he go, and he puts like an old dying version of the virus into the person. And this sounds familiar because it's vaccination, but not really, because it's dangerous. So a lot of people were dying at the time, but the people who did survive, like Dr. Edward Jenner, developed a virulence or something like that, which is immunity to viruses. So now Dr. Edward Jenner had a choice in life. He could take the red pill or the blue pill. I mean, he could go and he could be like a lawyer or a trash can or a vending machine or even a meme. But you know what he did? He wanted to become a doctor, hence the name Dr. Edward Jenner. Anyways, so now Dr. Edward was doing a job and he went to become a doctor. So, next step in his life, it's not 1949 anymore. So he goes to Europe, which is where he always is, and he goes to the surgeon man doctor. I'm gonna give him a hat because he's class. A surgeon man doctor man, and he's a surgeon. And then there's little Dr. Edward Jenner, and he's picking his nose or something like that, or he's scratching his chin. That image could be deciphered many ways. So this man is a professional surgeon man. I'll give him a stethoscope, but is a surgeon. So Dr. Edward Jenner trained under him for 7 years, just like the 7 Years' War. But after 7 years being apprentice from the doctor, he's like, okay, I'm a doctor now, and then he left the guy. He couldn't buy. All right, anyways. So now this young Dr. Edward Jenner was like, okay, I'm gonna be a surgeon. But then he was like, Anna, I'm gonna be a family doctor. You're PCP. You're gonna work at your local children's community family doctor area. Anyways, he was gonna be there and not do surgery, I don't think. But anyways, he went to a more rural place. So he went to this town, probably, I don't know. And then he went to this house, and this is the window, and this is the door, and this is the house of Doctor is the house of Doctor. Anyways, so in here, he was like a local doctor, general doctor, whatever. So he lived in a town, right, in a rural place. So there was like a farm with some cows, and he was pretty well off. You know, he was a doctor. He was from a pretty well off family. So he had some milkmaids who were milking the cows, the lady, and they were milking the cow. They're milking the cow. And he was just a doctor. But then he was like, China. So he heard in China that they were doing a thing in a place with vaccination, kind of. So they would go to this this guy, because smallpox was everywhere in the world, including China. So people would go to this Chinese guy who was infected with smallpox, and they would take a thing in a place. Here, let me draw this for you. This is a Chinese guy. The Chinese guy. He has a unibrow, I guess, or just he's an imposter. But anyways, he's a Chinese guy. Oh, he's sad actually, because he has smallpox. He's probably dying or dead or both, because that's how it works. But he's taking smallpox, and he has smallpox all over. And then there was this doctor guy. He's Dr. Ching Chong, we'll call him. And then there was another guy who was like, oh, I'm a patient. So the doctor would take a dipple, and he'd take the pus from this sore, and he'd go, and he'd put it in this guy. And now, this guy would develop some symptoms of smallpox, maybe even die, because, you know, it is smallpox anyways. And so this guy would be like, oh, I'm sick. But then, he's free from smallpox. Just like the the inoculation from the thing when Dr. Edward Jenner was a thing in the 8. This was just like when Dr. Edward Jenner was 8 and he had inoculation for smallpox. But this was much less traumatic because Dr. Edward Jenner said he was very, his soul could not handle when he was 8 at one time. for life, much like the smallpox people. But he was like, Anna, I can't have the people of Europe who are just vibing, they get smallpox and die, or when they're child but 8, they go and they get stabbed and then they're also scarred emotionally. But, so, what did Dr. Edward Jenner do? Next, he did some big brain, thickle brain moves to cure smallpox. So anyway, Dr. Edward Jenner returned from his study in China. Or maybe he never went to China. Maybe he never studied China. Maybe it was all a dream. Maybe China doesn't exist. Anyways, he's like, I wonder if there is a way to replicate the vaccine that the Chinese are making and to make it less deadly for people in Europe, because people are still dying from the smallpox that the Chinese were giving other people. So he's like, it'd be very cash money if I could do something that's better than that. He's like, all right, I give up. So he gave up for a while, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna study some birds. So he studied the cuckoo, which is a fact. This is the cuckoo bird. And he made many fascinating observations on the cuckoo, which is a very interesting bird. And then he got bored of the cuckoo, so he went to some archaeology, because that's what Dr. Edward Jenner was doing, because why not? And then he's like, I tire of these needless tasks, so I'm gonna go back to my research for the smallpox. He's like, so what do I do? What is the thing? So he was living on a farm, right? And there were these milkmaid people, and they were milking these cows. But the cows had a disease, so there's another disease going around called cowpox. And cowpox is much like smallpox, except guess what? Cows. So cowpox affected the udders. So smallpox makes sores on people, right? So cowpox makes sores on the udders of cows. And so yeah, this is just like smallpox, but it's a lot less deadly, right? So the milkmaid, this is milkmaid, we'll call her June. And so she is milking the cows, and she doesn't have telepathy or whatever. So she's going and she's using her hand, and she's go burr, burr. She makes the cow go burr, and she gets the milk in the bucket, and she goes back and she does whatever with the milk, probably do drugs, sell for drugs. So she holds this, and then once she's touching the cow's udder that has the smallpox sores. So what does she get? She gets cowpox on her hand. Wow! But so this cowpox is not very deadly, right? Like I said before, this cowpox gives people like, I'm sick. Oh, done. I don't have corona. Anyways, so one time, Dr. Edward Jenner overheard a milkmaid be like, oh, I don't have to worry about my beautiful face getting infected with that deadly disease, smallpox, because I am already sick with the cowpox. Because that's the thing that I assume, because I'm a milkmaid and I'm awesome. But so Edward Jenner was like, big brain energy. And guess what he did? He put the 2 and 2 together, and he's like, cowpox gives milkmaids sores, and the milkmaids get cowpox, and they don't die, because cowpox has only mild symptoms, because cowpox was designed to infect cows, not humans. So cowpox doesn't really hurt humans. So then, when humans get cowpox, they don't get smallpox. So he's like, what if I put cowpox in a human on purpose, and then they didn't get cowpox? Anyways, so Dr. Edward Jenner had just made the revelation of his mankind history. So he's like, I know this is true, or probably it's true. He knew that now cowpox is, if you get cowpox, you're now immune to smallpox. So he's like, I wonder, because it was only an idea in his mind. Maybe it was a figment of his imagination. So he went and he's like, yo, gardener, you're a man, but you have a child, right? You have a child who's 8 years old, which is when Dr. Eduardo Jenner got his inoculation from smallpox. He's like, you have a child. I'm gonna yoink that child. He yoinked it away. He yoinked it. So he's like, I'm gonna take your child, thank you very much. And so the farmer was like sad probably. But anyways, he's like, okay, child, listen to me. I'm gonna stab you! So he went to like this Sarah milkmaid lady. Her name was Sarah Nelms or something like that, I don't remember. But she had cowpox on her hand because she was a milkmaid. And she was milking all the cows and she got, my sore, oh no! I have the that's permanent mark. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. I have the sores on my hand. What do I do? Oh no, it's cowpox. I won't get smallpox, so I'm good. I'm cool. So Dr. Eduardo Jenner, and he took some pus from the cowpox sores, and he's like, yoink, and he yoinked it into the yoinked child from the yoinked farmer guy, and he's like, I just stabbed. And so now, this young child was sad because he just got stabbed. He's appalled at the atrocities and war crimes that Dr. Eduardo Jenner had just committed. But anyways, so now this child was sad. He was laying in bed, and on bed he got sick. His temperature was up like fever, and he developed some sores, and then he got better because remember, cowpox is much, much, much less deadly to humans. So he's like, my experiment is nearly complete. So he went to an old smallpox man who was dying or dead, like the Chinese, and then he had dots all over because he has smallpox, and you can't tell which one is because you know, sores. But anyways, he yoinked the pus from the yoinked smallpox guy and put it in the boy. He yoinked from the gardener guy, which he put pus from a cowpox infected person. He yoinked from the milkmaid guy, and then he put it in here. So now the young child who's 8 years old has smallpox inside him. And now, for the big reveal. Smallpox canceled! Just like sisters, James Charles. But anyways, the boy did not get smallpox. He was immune! He developed immunity from smallpox by getting cowpox because his immune system was like, oh look, wait, what's that? It's cowpox! And so now, the immune system knew that whenever he saw cowpox, he would go versus So now the immune system knew what to do if they saw cowpox. But then when smallpox entered the chat, he was like, oh, what is this? It's a new thing. But wait, didn't your brother come here before? Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. And it defeated the smallpox because his immune system was trained for cowpox, but smallpox was similar enough so that it would still be immune. So on purpose, he had created the first working non-lethal vaccine for anything in the entire world. So then, Edward Jenner, with his brand new discovery of the world's first vaccine, he told the entire world. He sent his information, and guess what? They denied it. And he was like, I'm angry! So he's like, okay, redo that, scrap that. And he tried again. And guess what? The world was like, okay, lol. And so they accepted it. And so now he sent it to Europe. And Europe was like, wow, this is good, except for the other doctors, because the other doctors are still making money from inoculation. And this new vaccination thing was like, ah! But he named it vaccine or something, from cowpox. So cowpox is the thing, like the root is vaca. So he's like, vaccine, English. Anyways, so now the world had vaccines. So smallpox was no more really of a threat. So a lot of people were like, oh, thank you. So the royal court, or the people of England or Europe or whatever, they gave him 10,000 pounds money. And then Thomas Jefferson was like, oh, I bestow upon you my greatest gratitude, because, you know, Thomas Jefferson was a classy writer. And then Napoleon was like, oh yeah, I'm a Napoleon guy, I'm a conqueror. And he vaccinated every single one of his French soldiers using his thing. He was so happy that he even granted Dr. Eduardo Jenner's wish of releasing 2 prisoners of war. But anyways, so Dr. Edward Jenner's discovery had changed the world. After this, he retired to his home, and he had a temple of vaccinia, or whatever. He had a temple in his backyard where he vaccinated people for free. And then he died. The end. Okay, bye.